Yeah, maybe he wasn't, obviously it was his first film, so of course he would, but he was very open about it. He wasn't, he asked for help, but at the same time he had a lot of strong and firm ideas, and he expressed them clearly.
Was sort of the first to admit that he didn't have any idea what he was doing. He was also saddled with an all-Italian crew, meaning they literally didn't speak English. It wasn't like, oh, we're super accomplished Italian Americans all fluent in English. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because the executive producer was Dino De Laurentiis. Right. They were Italian, and we had a language barrier here, people. So we had a translator on set who would say to Steven, what would you like to do? And then Steven would say, okay, maybe I think I want to do this. And then the guy would translate to the Italian crew, and the Italian crew would discuss it, say to the translator, and the translator would, we must have added on a week and a half just in shooting time, just for translation alone. It was chaos. And plus it was about 140 degrees down in Wilmington, North Carolina, where the studio was.
First of all, it was a little bit tough because the film crew didn't speak English. They were all Italian. We had one guy who was supposed to translate, but he wasn't very good at it either. So the guy who taught me the most, God bless his heart, was Pat Hingle. Pat Hingle was the guy who taught me, okay, what we're going to do is a master and two cutaways. And he was the one who explained to me about you're going to shoot over the shoulder, you get the perspective, and then you're going to shoot you're going to do a turnaround, and you're going to do the other one, and then you're going to do the master in whatever thing. And he said to me, and by the way, you'll get more out of the actors when they aren't close than you will on the master.
The following interviews from /film.com include Roberto Croci, translator, Joe D'Alessandro, grip, Silvia Giulietti, camera assistant, Laura Harrington, Martha Schumacher, producer. Stephen King was not a director. He didn't know where to put the cameras. Then we did a preparation of the movie. We arrived 1 month before to shoot the movie, and Armando Nanuzzi, he did not speak English. So it was very funny because Stephen King was always speaking for minutes and Armando Nanuzzi was always saying yes, 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 without understanding one word. The conversation between them was impossible, but at the same time, Armando Nanuzzi understood perfectly what he wanted to do. Stephen King had a very strong idea about the movie, but he was not able to translate in images. Film is a universal dialogue, and Armando had a translator. Don't you want to get a cover shot? Armando Nanuzzi would ask, and Stephen King would say, whatever, if you think we need it. George Romero fans have pointed out many of Romero's signature camera angles and editing choices in the finished product, and that he was often on set. King and Romero were longtime friends, and King frequently asked him for directing advice. This has led to a long-standing rumor that Romero ghost-directed much of the film. While King has never admitted this up front, he has mentioned that Romero was on set, and King would frequently ask him for advice about directing. It is pretty well known that Maximum Overdrive was made during the height of Stephen King's alcoholism and cocaine use, so King does not remember filming, meaning that he also doesn't remember his original intention with the film. In a 2002 interview with Tony Magistrale, Stephen King stated that he was coked out of his mind all through its production, which he hid from the crew, but he did not hide his beer drinking. That's 6 o'clock in the morning, we all have a roll call and he's drinking beers. And by 8:30, he's on his 10th beer.
It was at the height of his alcoholism, right, and his drug addiction, which I didn't know. But I do remember that despite, no matter what the schedule was, if it was a night shoot, the beer would come out at 5 o'clock. And he would just start drinking. And I was like, okay, all right, anyway. You just go, in retrospect, maybe not the best decision.
I have very fond memories of making that movie, but there was definitely a point where we all kind of knew what this movie was going to be. Whether it didn't have enough of a story, of an emotional hook, I don't know. Because the script was what it was, everything just felt a bit off. None of us really felt like we got the story. I don't think there was anybody that had the feeling that this was going to work. But also his attitude, I think is because he did not get what he wanted. He felt betrayed. This is my recollection. The script went through many changes, yes, but in every version, on every page, was lead protagonist, and for this character, Stephen King wanted an unknown actor at that time, Bruce Springsteen. "I can do 10 movies for you, Dino, but I want Bruce Springsteen." But Dino say, "Bruce who? Bruce who?" Dino didn't know. He didn't know he was the boss, the man who would change rock music. So Stephen King explained and say, "I want to direct Bruce. This is my movie, and the truck driver is Bruce Springsteen." But Dino didn't care. He just say, "I'll get Emilio, Martin's son." When that moment became official, that there was no Bruce Springsteen, Stephen King couldn't give a shit about the movie. That's my opinion. Working with Stephen was exciting, but it was really Dino's world. Definitely his world. Stephen wanted me in this funky sort of role. He wanted me to dress like a guy, to be a girl who dressed like a guy. And then Dino put the kibosh on that. He called me into his office and he looked at me and seemed very perplexed about early footage. And then he said, "You're not wearing pants anymore in this movie." And the next day, they put me in a short skirt and that was that. Nope, Stephen's idea of this androgynous idea was shot down. It was Dino's show.
Dino De Laurentiis was sort of a tyrant in a way. And if things didn't go Dino's way, he would just pull stuff. When we were shooting the end of the movie, we didn't have craft services. We barely had enough lights to get the night scene shot. It was interesting. It was an interesting time. But Dino was just over it, and Stephen was balking a little bit too much at I guess what he was wanting, and so Dino just started shutting the money down.
I remember it very well. There was Stephen King sitting off scene on a director chair, and then next to me is Armando, then his son on the camera, and then Sylvia. Many times Armando say to take out the blades, and then many times Stephen King would say, "There's no fucking way, we have to be as real as possible." Then Stephen King say speed, and the lawnmower is supposed to go. This lawnmower was radio controlled, and narratively it was supposed to go out of control, having a soul of its own, machines taking over. And part of the scene entailed the special effects guy rigging some kind of radio control contraption to a lawnmower, and then it's supposed to move around without anybody behind it. But the first time, it did not drive, and I remember that the special effects say that they were raising higher the power on lawnmower. Then Stephen King say speed again, and the lawnmower still not go. And the special effects raise high the power up again, and in my mind I would say, I think it is very strong. But finally, after the third time the lawnmower moved, and Stephen King did not say stop. Then the lawnmower comes as close to the camera to the point that it chews up some of the hard plastic that covers the lens. And it keeps going, over and over. And in the process of moving it, that wedge caught the blade. Then the lawnmower starts to knock over the matte box. Then it starts to take the camera. Obviously, in very few seconds, the camera operator takes the camera away on the floor. The lawnmower then split the wood, and 5 meters back there was Armando. That splint of wood, my God, the odds were a gazillion to 1. That splint of wood then went into Armando's eye. For a cameraman to lose his eye, my God. Ow, somebody shot me, somebody shot me. That's what Armando said, but he said in Italian, "Mi hanno sparato," and the blood was everywhere. That was horrific. The wood chip in his eye, just horrific. Shocking, disturbing, sad, and ironic, given what the movie was about. It was just this terrible miscommunication. I remember the police arrived immediately, and very soon there was a helicopter to take him to the hospital. I remember there was big confusion because everything was happening very quickly at the scene of Armando. It was completely dirty of blood. It was kind of scene of horror I will never forget in all my life. Filming was stopped and resumed when Armando returned after 2 weeks. He later sued for $18 million and settled out of court. But that would not be the end of weird accidents related to Maximum Overdrive. Years later, something very coincidental happened to Stephen King. In the film, the Earth passes through the comet's tail on June 19th, 1987. Exactly 12 years later, on June 19th, 1999, King was hit and nearly killed by a distracted driver. An eyewitness at the accident scene said King was breathing and laying in a heap, and he was all tangled, and I could tell his leg was broken.